The shocking truth behind Jesus' family tree will haunt you forever. In a small, dusty town, a secret lay buried beneath centuries of history, a secret that could reframe everything we thought we knew about the very fabric of belief. Locals whispered about strange occurrences at the ancient cemetery where the shadows loomed darker than they should. A chill ran down people's spines as the night sky twisted with storm clouds, setting a perfect stage for eerie revelations. Here, the air was thick with the scent of rain, mingling with unease, but it wasn't just the looming storm that struck fear. It was the discovery of a tattered scroll engraved with names that would echo through time, names like Mary and Joseph, but also new ones that sent shockwaves through the community. Who were these people? How could they be linked to someone so revered? The townsfolk flipped through dusty books hoping for answers, but the more they uncovered, the more tangled the web grew. An air of suspense settled like a blanket over the town, and faces turned pale as the pieces fell into place. Tension escalated as word spread. Someone had reappeared after years of sudden disappearance, a reclusive historian who claimed to possess knowledge of Jesus' family tree. His eyes sparkled with secrets and his breath hitched when he mentioned an ancient lineage cloaked in scandal. "There's more to this than you can imagine," he whispered, his voice dropping to a hush. The locals couldn't help but lean in closer, desperation evident on every face. Their hearts raced. What awaited them in this family saga of surprise and intrigue? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The historian shifted, tension building as he revealed a name so chilling, a legacy believed lost to time, now resurfacing amidst bloodlines marred by betrayal and darkness. The crowd gasped, eyes wide as they exchanged bewildered glances filled with hope and dread. What other secrets lay hidden in the shadows of history? What would they unearth when they dug deeper? The unanswered questions loomed over them like thunder, waiting to strike. The historian took a step closer, and the intensity rose even higher. He spoke in a low, urgent whisper. The bloodline also includes a name no one dares to speak. Judas. The air grew thick. A collective gasp swept through the crowd, faces slack in disbelief. Judas? The name hung like a storm cloud over them, casting shadows on their inherited beliefs. Could it really be true? Emotions tangled: fear, intrigue, a hint of anger. This changes everything. Whispers erupted, questions raced. He betrayed him. How can this be? A mother clutched her child's arm tightly, eyes wide with horror. Is that what this town is built on? Betrayal? As the historian continued, urgency crackled like static in the air. What you don't know is that after the betrayal, Judas' family vanished, or so they thought. The rain began to fall, droplets speckling the ground, mirroring the tension that was about to explode. The historian's voice turned grave. Legends say they sought redemption, hiding from the world and, perhaps, from their own blood. But they remained. Quietly watching, waiting for the right moment to emerge from the shadows. A chill swept through the crowd, an unsettled feeling crept in. Each person could feel the weight of history crashing against their modern lives. Faces exchanged glances filled with a cocktail of suspicion and horror. Did this mean they were tied to a lineage interwoven with betrayal and guilt? How deep did the darkness run? Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder echoed across the sky, shaking the earth beneath their feet. Lightning illuminated the cemetery, casting fleeting shadows dancing among the graves. The thunder was like a heartbeat, loud and commanding. Many in the crowd jumped, clutching one another, their own hearts drumming in sync with nature's fury. The historian drew back slightly, gauging their reactions, a small smirk playing at the corner of his lips. You all need to understand this isn't just about bloodlines. It's about what happens when secrets linger for too long. When does the past catch up? Beneath the weight of his words, the tension was palpable, each soul caught in a moral spiral. Would they continue searching for truth, even if it challenged everything they believed? As dissent murmurs bubbled beneath the surface, the historian leaned in again. The scroll isn't the only evidence, he hissed. There are artifacts. Things that could change everything. At that moment, a young man stepped forward, a passionate flame burning in his eyes. What are you talking about? What artifacts? Just as he posed the question, rain poured down heavily, soaking them all, but no one moved. Everyone was frozen, captivated by something deeper than fear, hope, curiosity, a reckless drive for answers. They were teetering on the brink of discovery, the pulse quickening with every heartbeat. The historian looked around, then pointed toward the dark mouth of the forest behind the cemetery. Follow me. If you dare. And with that, the storm raged on, threatening to pull them into both darkness and revelation. Would they cross into the unknown, driven by centuries-old secrets? Little did they know, danger lurked amongst those seeking hidden truths. A presence they couldn't yet see, a shadow ready to pounce. Would they grasp the secrets, or would the secrets consume them first? As the historian turned, soaked to the skin, the group hesitated. The storm roared around them, as if nature itself were venting its discontent. Glances of uncertainty flitted through the crowd. That heavy air thickened with the weight of potential danger. Did you hear him? A voice called from the back of the gathering. It was Clara, a woman known for her sharp tongue and weathered heart. She took a step forward, her dripping hair framing her face like a matted veil. What kind of madness makes you think we should follow some ghost story into the woods? Madness begets madness, murmured an elderly man, fear etched on his features. But what if it's true? A pulse of energy surged through the crowd. Secrets, rumors, and doubts tangled like roots beneath the surface. Was Judas really watching them? Was that why they felt so haunted? Enough, the historian barked, cutting through the squabbles. His eyes shone with intensity. You think your lives are led by the truth? No. They're driven by the past. Come, or risk never knowing what you really are. His voice dripped with urgency, daring them to turn away. He moved toward the forest, a figure silhouetted against the rain and the flickering lights of lightning. The air hung with anticipation, and amidst mental wrestlings, the first step was taken. It was Aaron, a college kid looking for rebellion, spirit alive with excitement. His bold choice didn't come without consequence. His heart raced as he plunged into the shadows of the trees. One by one, others followed, driven by a mix of fear, curiosity, and a thirst for truth. The forest welcomed them, shrouded in darkness and mystery. Each step echoed off the damp ground, a slow rhythm that matched the frantic beating of their hearts. Stay close. Jesse, a young father, warned, clutching his daughter's small hand. Her wide eyes flicked nervously to the twisting branches above, as if they might come alive. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, the trees pressed together, forming a thick canopy that blocked out the light. Thunder rumbled, but deep down, something else stirred. It was as if the land itself was alive and breathing, waiting for them to uncover whatever had laid dormant for centuries. The historian suddenly halted, holding up a lantern that flickered weakly as he grinned. Here it is, he declared breathlessly, the heart of the secrets. They gathered close, excitement tempered by anxiety. In the dim light, they saw an ancient stone altar partially buried in the earth, its surface carved with strange, twisting symbols that flickered under the lantern's glow. What is it? Someone whispered, the words trembling on their lips. This. The historian gasped, as he brushed away the dirt and debris. An artifact from Judas' own lineage. This alters everything. But before he could explain, piercing eyes glimmered in the dark, watching. The group felt it, a palpable presence lurking just out of sight. Whispers broke out. Confusion ignited to frenzy. "Is someone there?" called Clara, her voice shaky but strong. Each breath grew shallower, as if the woods were closing in around them. The historian's expression twisted from triumph to fear, his eyes darting nervously. "We're not alone." Amidst their rising panic, another clap of thunder rang out, louder than before. The ground shook slightly beneath their feet as if the very earth was warning them. "Who's there?" Jesse shouted, stepping protectively in front of his daughter, his fists clenched tight in defiance. No answer came. Instead, a chilling silence enveloped them, thick with tension and layered with uncertainty. Just as the shadows swelled, the historian finally uttered the words sent shivers down their spines. "It's beginning, the reckoning." And with that, the forest quaked, not only with the rain but with an unseen force drawing closer. Would they uncover the truth before it swallowed them whole? The air grew heavier, thick with trepidation as the historian's words echoed, hanging like a haunting fog around them. The damp earth beneath their feet felt unstable, as if it were a living entity, alert and prepared for whatever was coming. "What do you mean, the reckoning?" Clara's voice broke through the silence, her eyes darting to the dark underbrush. She looked small under the towering trees, her defiance wavering as the shadows seemed to close in tighter. Before the historian could respond, another crack of thunder split the sky. The lantern flickered, and the oppressive darkness seemed to ripple. Jesse tightened his grip on his daughter's hand, a protective instinct surging through him. Every instinct told him to flee, yet the pull of curiosity and fear bound him to that spot. "Everyone, stay together," he shouted as a distant growl rumbled through the trees. It was unlike any animal sound they'd ever heard, more like a warning, a threat building in tension. "Is it Judas?" Aaron asked, fear creeping through his voice as he eyed the shadows, an impulse to run fighting with the allure of mystery. "Judas is nothing compared to what lies beneath," the historian hissed, his backbone erect. "This altar, it's a portal. Each sacrifice made here ripples through time. You're not just uncovering history, you're dealing with forces that could shift the balance of life and death." Suddenly, the rustling intensified, branches snapping as if something was moving through the underbrush. Breath held tight in their chests, they turned as a figure, dark and imposing, flickered in and out of existence. It felt unnatural, shifting between shapes. Then a whisper, soft yet sinister, slipped through the air. "Leave this place or suffer for eternity." Familiarity struck Aaron. Is that Judas? Is he warning us? Panic dripped from his tone, uncertainty lining his brows. "No. That's not Judas," the historian shouted, eyes wide and glimmering with fear. "This is something else, something darker." As the figure drew closer, the shadows contorted, twisting into grotesque forms. Jesse's heart raced. He could feel the weight of every trembling heartbeat around him, every gasp mixing with the falling rain that began once more, a chilling baptism preparing them for what was to come. "Back to the altar," Clara urged, fearing that fleeing would only invite further danger. "But we came here to find the truth," Aaron protested, his voice cracking. The anger and excitement fermented into a potent cocktail of bravery and folly. "Truth?" Jesse interjected. "What truth? Do you want to endanger your daughter for a fairy tale?" He stepped instinctively closer to Clara, trying to form a shield against the encroaching darkness. Their breaths quickened as the air became charged, electrifying, alive with energy. A low growl vibrated from the figure as it emerged fully from the shadows. The face it wore was not human, it twisted and contorted, eyes devoid of warmth, brimming with a timeless rage. "You awaken what should remain asleep," it hissed, voice a blend of whispers from long ago. And then, just when it seemed despair would swallow them whole, the historian stepped forward, the lantern raised high. "We are here to uncover the truth. We will confront whatever is in this forest." The darkness convulsed violently, like a creature in pain. With a deafening roar, the figure lunged toward them, arms stretching, shadows filling the air. And just like that, the forest erupted. A scream pierced the chaos. Jesse's blood ran cold. "Emma!" he cried, realizing his daughter had slipped away. In that moment of agonizing clarity, the ground groaned, the altar responded, and the storm intensified as they faced the choice that could dictate their fates. Would they stand and fight the truth no matter how terrifying, or succumb to the shadows wrapping around them? The forest trembled, trembling as if alive, awaiting their decision. The shadows twisted like tendrils of smoke, and as Jesse's panicked shouts echoed through the ominous darkness, the forest seemed to come alive in response. The figure lunged toward him, and he instinctively stepped back, his heart pounding in his chest like a war drum. "Emma!" he screamed again, desperation clawing at his throat. The echoes of his voice disappeared into the dense foliage, swallowed by the darkness. "Stay close," Clara urged, her voice an anxious whisper, but Jesse couldn't focus on anything but the flickering shadow that had ripped through their sanctuary. The historian gripped the lantern tightly, its feeble light flickering like their hopes. "We mustn't give in to fear. It feeds the darkness," he shouted, trying to rally the group, though his own eyes betrayed the fear coursing through him. A sudden crash of thunder illuminated the scene for a split second, but it was enough to reveal the grotesque form more clearly, a beast unlike any they had ever encountered, neither fully human nor completely creature. Its twisted features appeared to morph in the waning light, a mesh of agony and fury echoing a long-buried pain. "What does it want?" Aaron gasped, the tremor in his voice betraying him. "Is it the sacrifices? The truth?" Jesse's mind raced. Sacrifices? What had they awoken? The memories of whispered legends surged in his mind, tales of betrayal, of ritual and blood. He had brushed them off as folklore, just echoes of a time long past. The cost of the altar suddenly struck him with chilling clarity. What if he hesitated, fear mingling with instinct? What if this wrath, it begins with us? What if the truth is too much to bear? The historian's eyes darkened as understanding swept over him. "It doesn't just want answers, it wants its due. And we're here to pay," he bellowed, but there was a crack in his voice, a tremor that hinted at his unraveling composure. From the depths of the underbrush, an eerie, moonlit mist snaked its way toward them, curling around their legs. Its cold fingers gripped their ankles, and panic surged in Jesse's chest. The darkness had taken form, each tendril filled with whispers, promises, and riddles. "Clara, we need to find Emma," he urged, pulling his daughter closer. "We can't let whatever this is take her." But Clara was staring at the historian, her expression questioning. "Do we really know what we're up against?" The historian's lantern flickered again, casting shadows that danced in chaotic patterns. "The walls of time are thin here, the altar doesn't just connect the past and the present. It connects fates, intertwines destinies." He raised his voice over the encroaching darkness. "But only if we're strong enough to face it." That's when a chilling laughter erupted from the shadows, a sound that sent chills skittering down their spines. Jesse's insides twisted. It was a shared laughter, echoed by the forest, resonating with blasphemous knowledge. He turned, trying to find Emma, but darkness swallowed all light, all hope. "Jesse!" Clara's voice shook, electricity crackling in the air. "What if?" A low growl rumbled in the depths of the mist. Jesse's grip on Clara tightened as fear began to strangle what remained of their resolve. They were teetering on the brink. The very ground seemed to pulse with malevolence, daring them to make a choice they might not be able to reverse. Then a flicker of light cut through the shadows. Was it Emma? Or was it a trick, a lure made by the very thing they sought to uncover? "Stay by me," Jesse urged, heart racing. "We stick together. No matter what." But as they moved towards that brief flicker, the shadows hissed, and the growling grew louder, bold and ominous, as if the forest itself screamed in warning, and then the mist surged forward, wrapping around them like chains. With a primal scream, Jesse dared to pull Clara and Aaron away from the altar as the figure loomed closer, its chilling gaze fixing on them, they had crossed a threshold, and the reckoning was upon them, closer than they ever imagined. What would it take to uncover the horrid truth buried deep within the altar's grasp? The forest had awakened, and it was hungry. The darkness twisted around them, tightening like a vice as Jesse led Clara and Aaron further into the thick wood. Each step felt heavier, laden with an unseen weight that threatened to drag them down. The flickering light ahead beckoned, but it was not a beacon of hope, it was an illusion carefully woven into the shadows. "Jesse, we need to turn back," Clara cried, her voice quavering with fear. "We're going deeper into whatever this is." His heart pounded harder. Turning back was not an option. Emma could be out there. "I can't just." The growl intensified, a low, rumbling sound vibrating through the very ground beneath them. It was more than a warning, it was a promise of danger, a rejection of their presence. Jesse's throat went dry, and he felt a bead of sweat trickle down his spine, mingling with the cold mist swirling around him. "Look!" Aaron pointed, his voice barely above a whisper. "That light. It's getting closer." But as they moved, the forest seemed to shift, the trees closing in around them, suffocating their escape routes. Jesse threw a glance back towards the altar. He could almost feel its pull, as if it was drawing him back, desperate to claim them all. "Keep moving," the historian shouted, struggling to maintain a grip on the lantern. The flickering light still barely cut through the night, but in its glow, Jesse saw the historian's eyes wide and wild, a frightened reflection of his own turmoil. Suddenly, the mist erupted like a boiling cauldron, swirling violently. They were surrounded. The shadows thickened and darkened, and suddenly there were whispers, a guttural murmur echoing through the trees. It felt as if the ancestors themselves had gathered to witness what was about to unfold. Jesse's heart raced as the murmurs became discernible, echoing through the trees. "You're not welcome here. You've disturbed what was buried. The truth demands its due, please." "We didn't mean any harm," Clara shouted, desperation rising in her voice, but the forest only sneered. "Harm or truth?" The voice dripped with sinister amusement, intertwining with the growling sound. The laughter returned, twisting around them, mocking their plight. "Jesse! We have to do something!" Aaron screamed, gripping Jesse's arm, panic reading all over his face. "We can't just stand here!" Jesse yelled, his mind racing for a solution. What could they do against such ancient wrath? But he couldn't stop now. Emma needed him. Then, through the chaotic fury, he caught a fleeting vision, that flicker of light again. Yes. It had moved. The realization hit him. Someone was out there. Whoever controlled that light could be the key to their salvation. "Come on," he urged, dragging Clara and Aaron with him. "We're going for that light." They moved like ghosts, slipping through the fog as the growling deepened, twisting and contorting into agonized howls. The shadows clawed at them, pulling, tugging, hungry for their fear. Jesse pressed forward, the flickering flame growing brighter yet more erratic, but just as they reached what seemed like a clearing, a figure stepped into the light, a silhouette, beautiful yet terrifying. It had Emma's shape, yet something about it felt wrong. "Emma!" Clara shrieked, confusion painting her face. "Stay back!" Jesse warned, instinct screaming. It wasn't just a girl, it was something far more complex, twisting and echoing their fears. "Help me," the figure whispered, but its voice carried an echo that sent chills down Jesse's spine. It wasn't Emma's. And then, the shadows lunged. They surged at him with a collective force. Jesse barely had time to react as he pulled Clara and Aaron back, but the darkness was relentless, wrapping around their limbs, tightening like a serpent preparing to constrict its prey. What lay beneath that veil? The forest had its own desires, its own motivations. Jesse's heart thundered in his chest, and adrenaline coursed through him. The question loomed: could he face the truth of their situation, no matter how horrifying it might be? They were not just searching for Emma anymore. They were fighting for their very souls and the Forest was hungry for more than answers. The shadows billowed like storm clouds, creeping closer, eager to consume them. Jesse's breath quickened as he fought against the oppressive darkness tightening around him, like a predator welcoming its prey. "Run!" he shouted, pulling Clara and Aaron as he stumbled backward, searching for any escape from the encroaching doom. They sprinted deeper into the clearing, the laughter ricocheting off the trees like a sadistic symphony. The figure flickered in the dim light, a ghostly echo of Emma morphing into something monstrous. "Help me," it called again, but the plea curdled into a screech, echoing off the bark like taunts in a twisted game of hide-and-seek. "You're not her!" Jesse shouted, desperately willing himself to focus. But the figure shifted, distorting into a collage of their own fears, reflections of their past failures and regrets. Clara faltered, fear overpowering her resolve, but Jesse could not let them capture her heart. "Keep going." He yanked Clara forward as Aaron began to tremble. "We can't stop. We have to find Emma." Just then, a thick tendril of darkness shot out, wrapping around Clara's ankle. It whipped her off her feet, slamming her to the ground with a sickening thud. "Clara!" Jesse screamed, stumbling to her side. He could see the terror in her eyes, wide and glazed, as she fought against the creeping shadows that wrapped tighter around her legs, pulling her toward the depths of the forest. Aaron reached for her, but his hand caught in a web of darkness, pulling him back as well. "No! Let her go!" Jesse shouted, but the forest just hissed, its breath cold and biting. "Jesse, please!" Clara begged. She clawed at the dirt, struggling to free herself, but the shadows wove deeper into the ground, intertwining with her very essence. "You have to leave me. I want to let it take you too." "No!" he shouted, but the realization pressed down on him, rendering him paralyzed. To save one meant risking them all. He needed to act fast. Before the forest could drag Clara into its depths, Jesse's heart raced with one last desperate idea. "He's lying!" he yelled, hoping to draw the attention of the entity controlling the figure. "You're not afraid of us. You're afraid of the truth." His voice echoed, his guts churning, but each word felt like a step toward defiance. "A truth you cannot fathom," the forest hissed. It was as if reality itself twisted, the shadows morphing into a deeper black, eager to consume every inch of the white light they carried. "And the cost of wisdom is your souls. Then take me." Jesse screamed, his heart pounding, ready to sacrifice everything. "Let her go. You want my fear? Here it is." With that, the shadows recoiled, and Clara's legs slipped free for a moment. In a surge of adrenaline, Jesse extended a hand to her. "Clara! Take my hand." But just as she reached out, the ghostly figure morphed again, its voice now a low, seductive whisper. "Do you really know what you offer? Sacrifice can grant power or it can unleash horrors." The branches twisted above them, the forest whispering secrets around them, and Jesse felt the weight of despair. "What do we have to lose?" he said, now standing firm. "We've already lost everything." Clara looked up at him, fear warring with determination. Her hand brushed against his, and in that moment, they felt something shift in the very fabric of the woods. But before they could clasp hands, the shadows surged forward, a tidal wave of darkness crashing down on them. A voice echoed through the trees, chilling their blood. "Hope is the illusion and despair the reality." As the forest roared back to life, Jesse's grip weakened, and the shadows closed in, pulling him into a nightmare that sought to swallow them whole. In the distance, he could see the flickering light waver, but was it truly hope or a trap? And just as the darkness enveloped them, a blinding flash ignited from the heart of the forest. What was hidden deep within its core? Jesse gasped as he felt the ground drop beneath him. A haunting question loomed in the air: would he be the savior or the sacrifice? Jesse tumbled through the darkness, air rushing past him like icy fingers, clawing at his skin. His heart raced, pounding like a drum in the chaos. With a forceful gasp, he hit the ground hard, jolting him into a frenzy. Dazed, he looked around, trying to decipher where he was. Had the forest swallowed him whole? A low, mocking laugh echoed through the trees, sending shivers down his spine. "Welcome to the depths," Jesse, a chilling voice whispered, wrapping around him like fog. "The truth comes at a price." Breath hitching in his throat, he forced himself to his feet. Instinctively, he called out for Clara and Aaron. "Guys! Are you here?" Panic clawed at his insides. He could barely make out shadows shifting in the distance. Were they friends or illusions? "Jesse!" came Clara's voice, faint but real, cutting through the darkness like a beacon. Relief surged through him, pushing him forward. He scrambled through the undergrowth, branches clawing at his arms, each step heavy with dread. "Clara! Aaron!" he called again, voice trembling. He stumbled into a small clearing, the atmosphere charged with a suffocating tension. The air shimmered, alive with a mix of fear and something darker, something waiting. Then he saw them, Clara and Aaron, huddled close, their faces pale with terror. Shadows writhed at their feet, licking up their legs, hungry for their despair. "Get away from them!" Jesse yelled, but the shadows only twisted and danced, mocking him further. "Jesse!" Clara cried out, reaching toward him, her eyes wide. "It won't let us go. We can't fight it." "No!" he shouted back, grounding himself in determination. "We can't give in. We're stronger than this." The shadows tightened around them, whispering lies that burrowed deep into his mind. They twisted memories, how they had failed each other, how they had lost Emma. A sudden flash of light erupted from the forest, momentarily blinding him. What was that? "Jesse! Look!" Aaron pointed, his voice shaking. The light pulsed again, revealing a towering figure outlined in radiance, standing amidst the darkness. "Come join me," the figure beckoned, voice silky and insidious. "Let me show you the truth." Jesse felt the familiar pull of fear, but beneath it simmered a desperate rage. "I don't need your truth. I want them back." He gestured wildly toward Clara and Aaron, entwined in shadows. The figure's face twisted into a smile, unsettling and mirthless. "Very well. A sacrifice is required if you wish to see what lies behind the veil. What do you want?" Jesse's voice quaked with a blend of defiance and despair. "I won't sacrifice anything else. Perhaps your own sanity." The figure's eyes glinted, reflecting something sinister, and the shadows surged forward, reshaping into faces of the past, lost friends, moments of vulnerability, those they had tried to forget. Jesse staggered back, holding his head, trying to block out the memories as they coiled around him, stinging like venom. "Jesse! Fight it!" Clara screamed, pulling against the shadows with everything she had. Her spirit ignited a spark in him, one of rebellion against the dark that threatened to devour them. The light pulsed again, brighter, illuminating the darkness creeping closer, and Jesse saw a path, a thread of hope weaving through the shadows. If he took that leap, would he break the hold the forest had on them? He steadied himself, heart hammering. "I can't abandon you. Trust him," Clara urged, her voice lifting like a chant against the ominous laughter. With a deep breath, Jesse stepped toward the glowing light, prepared to face whatever truth awaited him. But just as hope bloomed, the laughter crescendoed, dark and wicked. "What you seek will change you forever," Jesse, with a thunderous roar. Shadows surged, cascading over the light as he pushed forward. The question lingered, heavy in the air: could bravery turn the tide of despair? And in that moment, Jesse felt his world unravel, teetering on the edge of salvation or obliteration. Could he truly defeat the darkness, or was it only leading him deeper into its lair? Jesse's heart raced as he lunged toward the light, the shadows clawing at his heels, desperate to pull him back into their abyss. He could hear Clara's cries, each one slicing through the heavy air like a knife. He had to be strong. He had to save them. The moment he stepped into the light, everything shifted. The shadows recoiled for a heartbeat, and a wave of warmth washed over him, a stark contrast to the chill that had gripped his soul. But that comfort was fleeting. The figure loomed closer, its features obscured by the glare. "Welcome, Jesse," it said, sounding almost sweet. "Now you'll see what has been kept from you." Jesse forced himself to focus, drawing every bit of strength for what lay ahead. The figure raised a hand, and the light split open like a curtain, revealing fragments of memory's triumphant moments tainted by echoes of loss. He saw himself as a child, laughing with Emma under a golden sun. But lurking behind that joy was despair, the last day they had spent together twisted in time, shadowed by the reality of her absence. "Stop! I don't want to see this," he yelled, slamming his eyes shut, but the visions burned bright even through his closed lids. "Oh, but you will, Jesse. You must accept it," the figure cooed, its voice a haunting lullaby. The ground beneath him trembled, and he stumbled, barely keeping his balance as he felt the tug of the past try to envelop him. Face the truth. It's time to break the spell. He could hear Clara's voice in the back of his mind, urging him not to give in. "You have to fight," she shouted, pulling against the shadows with every shred of her will. Jesse opened his eyes, squinting into the blinding light, and saw her struggle against the dark tendrils that wrapped around her. "No. I'm not leaving you," he cried out, reaching for her, terror surging through his veins. The figure laughed, a cruel echo that ricocheted off the trees, drowning out everything else. "To save her you must relinquish your past." "Never." A sudden fury ignited within him, making him feel alive against the encroaching darkness. A rush of clarity surged through him like a wild river breaking free of its dam. With every ounce of courage, he dashed forward, straight toward the figure, ready to confront whatever truth awaited him, but as he neared, the shadows recoiled, spinning into a cyclone that drew the light back. The figure's smile widened unnaturally. "You think you can escape the truth? You cannot run from what you are." The ground shook violently as the shadows formed into monstrous shapes, crowded with faces he recognized, friends and family twisted in pain, pleading for release. Jesse's chest tightened as their shadows curled around him, whispering secrets of guilt and regret, trying to latch onto his fears. "Remember Emma. Remember the good times, Jesse. This is not the end." Clara's voice cut through the fray, pulling him back from despair. As he glanced at her, a flicker of hope burned brighter. He realized that the truth may be painful, but he needed to confront it not just for himself, but for Clara and Aaron. He had to break the cycle. "I won't give in," he roared, as so many memories surged forward, joy that flickered like a flame amidst the suffocating darkness. He lunged forward one last time, yelling, "I choose to remember the love, the laughter, not the shadows." Just as he broke through, the shadows writhed in fury, and a deafening roar echoed, causing the ground to tremble beneath him. The light flared, a blinding explosion that sent shards of brilliance slicing through the darkness, threatening to shatter the veil once and for all. But just as Jesse felt the weight of the past beginning to lift, a piercing scream echoed above the chaos. It was Clara. And then everything went dark. Jesse's heart sank. What had he lost now? What terrible price would he have to pay to save them all? Suddenly, every sound ceased. The silence roared in his ears like a freight train. The blinding light faded, and Jesse's heart pounded in the depths of that soulless void. Clara. Aaron. Something deep inside him screamed. Panic seized him. He felt the world shifting around him, thrumming with tension, but nothing emerged from the darkness. A figure flickered, but it was distorted, not the ghostly form of Emma that had taunted him. This was a familiar being. Jesse. It was Clara. His heart skipped. Clara. He rushed toward the voice, desperately clawing through thick shadows. The darkness twisted, wailing as if instinctively knowing he sought to escape its clutches. But there she was, illuminated gently by an inner light, her features softening the harsh edges of despair. "Help me," she murmured, fear pooling in her eyes, the shadows wrapping around her like vengeful tendrils. They were sweeping her back into the abyss. Jesse felt a weight settle on him, the crushing realization that this was his doing. His choice to confront the darkness. Anguish gnawed at his heart. "Don't give up. Fight!" he shouted, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "You're stronger than this." Her eyes brightened momentarily. "Together. Jesse, we're stronger together." Her cries echoed, intertwining with the chaos. "You have to concentrate. Remember who you are." With a deep breath, he reached into his core, summoning every ounce of love he felt, the laughter, the warmth of sunlit days with Emma. He roared against the shadows, "I choose love. I choose hope." And the darkness quivered at his resolve. Jesse felt a strength he never knew he had. It surged through him like wildfire, his surroundings shifted, the shapes of torment beginning to dissolve as light flooded back in tendrils. The forest trembled, staring down at the core of their confrontation. "You cannot cleanse history," a hollow voice wailed. "You will bear the burden while we remain." "No. I refuse to carry this weight any longer." Jesse charged forward with Clara beside him. With every step, they pushed against the darkness, the binding roots of despair shattering like brittle glass, splashing shards of radiant truth all around them. "Now, Jesse," Clara urged. "We must connect with the heartbeat of this forest to reclaim what was lost." She reached for him, fingers tangling in shadow and light. Together, they called forth memories, an unbreakable bond of love. They held tight, amplifying their light beyond anything they thought possible. A booming roar sounded from the depths, the forest swelled with resentment. But Jesse and Clara stood resolute, their combined voices ringing true, "We are the light of love, not the shadows of regret." The entity snarled, darkness swirling ferociously, desperately trying to swallow their joy. But the power of their unity blazed, a beacon of resilience illuminating even the blackest depths. "We are not afraid. The truth will set us free," Jesse cried, his voice trembling with strength. The darkness writhed, pulsating violently, but as they spoke, the shadows began to recede, revealing their loved ones trapped in the dark. Aaron's terrified eyes met theirs, igniting a fire of purpose. The truth was not about blame, but about love, about healing. "I believe in you," Aaron shouted, joining their strength. "This isn't the end." The three hearts beat as one, a rhythm of warmth expanding and consuming the darkness. Their courage burned bright, tearing apart the ancient chains. The forest erupted in a cyclone of light, shadows fleeing from the brightness like moths escaping flames. Then silence fell once again, but this time a welcome kind. The forest stood still and serene, whispering secrets as ancient trees bowed in respect. And in that very moment, Clara, Jesse, and Aaron embraced, tears streaming down their faces. They were not just survivors, but warriors reclaiming their truth. The darkness had not devoured them, they had turned the tide. "Emma," Jesse whispered, looking into the clearing, their bond audible in the union of love. "We did it." As they stepped away from the altar, the lurking shadows dissolved once and for all. Light poured in through the treetops, illuminating a path that led them back. Hope beckoned as the past transformed into the lessons of their journey. Jesse sighed deeply, relief washing over him. They had faced despair and returned with a connection stronger than fear. The storm outside, once fierce, now calmed, echoed their own settled hearts. Together, they exited the depths of the forest, embracing the warmth as they stepped into the world once again. The secrets of the past had folded into a tapestry of understanding, binding them closer each day ahead. "Always remember to search for the light," Clara said softly, her hand resting on Jesse's shoulder. Together, Aaron added with a smile, taking both their hands. And as the world unfolded before them, they stepped into their new beginning, united not by blood, but by reclaimed love and endless hope. "Now, let us connect on the journey ahead." You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss out on more exclusive stories that delve into the truth. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and let us build this amazing community together. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this breathtaking conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. Your support is vital. We are stronger together.